So it's pre-market 8 a.m. and you have your list of all the gappers and their news. Now, how do you exactly turn that into an actionable trading watch list? I'll walk you through step by step in a 3-step simple process. How to create a pre-market watch list. Spoilers, the trading plan should have more than just a ticker and a headline. And you definitely shouldn't be following chat room alerts that's telling you to buy the high of the day breakout on every single stock that has a news title. For beginner traders trading with a small account, if you just focus on creating your own trading plan and trading your plan, that'll eliminate a lot of the FOMO, chasing, and other bad habits, such as holding your losers for too long. And if it's too much work, then maybe following chat room alerts easier. I heard they are making it rain Lamborghinis every single day now. In the last video, I talked about step 1, which is finding the pre-market gappers, and step 2, which is finding their news headlines and analyzing whether the news is positive, negative, or a blatant pump. Like I mentioned in the last video, just because the news is positive doesn't mean the stock will go to the moon. And even if a press release seems like bullshit, doesn't mean the stock cannot go 300%, 400%. In this video, we'll be going over the next 3 steps into creating a pre-market game plan. And if you appreciate videos like these, please remember to drop me a like for the YouTube algorithm. So after you've done step 1 and step 2, the 3rd step is drawing out the support and resistance lines of a stock on the daily chart. Let's take a look at CLVS, a biotech small cap stock that's been very hot lately. So after identifying all the news, we can see that this stock had a great Q3 earnings, an upgrade by Zacks, and also a potential merger and acquisition deal. So now we know fundamentally there's news to justify this gap up and potential follow through to the upside. And the stock isn't just up on air or fluff news, or even worse, no news at all, which could put you in a potential risk of a T12 hold by the Nasdaq. So if we're looking at the stock pre-market on November 29th, we can see that it gapped up above the previous day's highs on Wednesday, November 27th, around 1260s. But before we zoom in to analyze the intraday levels, we want to look at the stock CLVS on the daily chart first. So you can see on the daily that 1260s level corresponds to a daily support line. As you may have remembered from my how to draw support and resistance lines video, the areas that show above average trading volume, as well as these major dips like U-shapes on the daily chart, these are areas of interest. And if you draw a line across that 1260s price level, you can see the line has touched at least 3 candle areas. So these price levels act as psychological support and resistance. You can see that this price level used to act as support for the stock to bounce off once or twice over here. And once that support is broken, the stock tanks even further. So that previous support becomes later resistance. So that's just a brief summary of how you draw support and resistance levels for your daily watch list. So in this case for CLVS, once we broke above that 1260s prior resistance successfully and hold above it, that should be the new support level. And if that support holds, you can see the next resistance is 1550s, and after that 1650s. These are all just basic technical analysis. And like I said in a previous video, how to let winners run by utilizing the daily chart. Just because you draw resistance lines around that 1650, 1810, and the 1950s area does not guarantee the stock would run that high. But with enough volume, momentum, and hype, it could. Nothing is guaranteed 100% in day trading. I don't care what all these day trading marketing tell you, there's no guaranteed Lambo handout, and there's no secret sauce that will make you $1 million in 6 months. The only thing that will guarantee you 100% success rate is if you smash the like button to go long on this channel. We have grown from 0 to now over 25,000 subscribers in less than 12 months. So somebody do the math here. I think that's like 10,000% ROI. Thank you guys so much for your support. And no, there's no short locates available for this channel. So after you've completed the step 3 and drawn out support and resistance lines on the daily chart, the fourth step is to look into key data on the stock. That includes the float, market cap, short interest, financial metrics, and SEC filings. This step isn't as important if you're trading real companies like Tesla, Roku, and Facebook. But this is crucial if you're trading small cap penny stocks with a small account. Like I talked about in this video, you cannot just blindly buy every single stock gap up that has news. So let's continue using CLVS as an example here. So I'm using the key data on this stock and the daily chart price levels as of November 30th. Because I cannot see the future. I know there are many gurus out there who claim they can do so, and they're always 100% right. I am not like that. So we can see that the float for CLVS is 50.7 million. So that means it's not a low float stock that will squeeze 200-300% within 10 minutes like the rest of the penny stocks. And its market cap is around 800 million. So it's considered still a small cap stock, but it's not a micro cap penny stock like PSTV or APDN. But since the market cap for CLVS is more substantial and a lot bigger than the other micro penny stocks, that means bigger institutions can actually invest and trade the stock rather than mostly retail like the rest of the penny stocks. So that's something very important to make note of when you're creating your pre-market watch list. Like I mentioned in my various trader psychology videos, you want to know what kind of traders you're up against and whether it's smart money or dumb money on the other side. Now the next part to step number 4 is looking into SEC filings. It's very important to identify that CLVS is a biotech company. If you see many of my SEC filings videos, you know that these biotech companies are almost always poor for cash. That's even more so important for microcap penny stocks like PSTV and BPTH. So it's important to look at these companies to see if they have an active S1 or S3 to register to do an offering. So after you looked at all the key data for the stock and the SEC filings, the fifth step is the most important but often the hardest part, which is putting together all the information you've collected so far from step 1 to 4 and using your past experience and screen time and the current market condition to plan out the most likely scenario to happen short term. We're day traders, so most likely we're looking at intraday time frames and making educated guesses on what the stock could do to the upside or downside. So putting everything together now for CLVS, step 1, yes, it was a gapper. Step 2, yes, it does have valid news. Step 3, drawing out key resistance on the daily charts of where the stock could potentially go to if there's enough momentum and volume. And also the support areas of where the stock could potentially dip down to and consolidate in that area before moving the next leg up. Step 4, the stock is not a low float, it's a small cap but not a sketchy penny stock. It also has a bigger market cap, so there could be more funds and institutions playing it. It's a biotech stock with an active shelf registration, so that means they could try to raise some money soon. But just because they could use it doesn't mean they'll do so right away. They can do that tomorrow, next week, or even next month. So looking at CLVS daily chart, you can see that it's been very hyped up recently with above average volume. It's also going parabolic technically on the daily chart and breaking above all the resistance levels. And if you know anything about day trading, you know to not fight the trend, especially when there's bigger institutions and smart money involved. Now looking at the past behavior and the intraday price action on CLVS, you can see that this stock likes to push early in the morning and then quickly pull back. Sometimes it'll even sell off and go red on the day first before consolidating and volume coming back in for it to go red to green and to rip even higher on a breakout. So that's why on November 26th, instead of chasing the high of the day breakout on CLVS, I made the plan to short the retest of yesterday's highs. and covering into every single wash early in the morning. And that's because of the screen time and experience I've spent watching the stock and seeing how it trades intraday. And once the selling slows down, we could potentially long the curl on CLVS, and if there's enough volume, we could see the stock going red to green and breaking above yesterday's highs. And all these price levels are determined pre-market before I enter the stock, using daily support resistance levels, previous day close, and also sometimes pre-market highs and lows. And I repeat the same process, steps 1 to 5, for all the 4 to 6 stocks that I'm watching every single morning. And I start doing so from 4 a.m. Pacific time. Sleep? What's that? I've become really fast now, and each stock should take me about 5 to 10 minutes. And sometimes a little bit longer if I'm looking at dirty SEC filings on stocks like CGIX and APDN. I'm sure everyone has a different process for creating a pre-market watch list, but I know for a fact that having a ticker and a headline isn't enough. I'm just sharing my watch list planning process and what's worked really well for me so far. If you guys have a different process of creating a watch list, please do let me know in the comment section below. As always, these detailed day trading videos take me 10 to 12 hours to make. So if you wouldn't mind tapping the like button, I'd really appreciate it. And please do subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I'm the Humbled Trader, and I'll see you guys next week.